In this video, we're going to look at how to manage the state of your application using the application object. One of the main features of the application object is to provide a shared application storage space for your app. That means if you want to store a number of users that are currently on your website and display that, or if you want to store off a list or maybe an XML file that's filled with information your site will typically display to every user, you can put that in an application object. But it's easier to show you how this works than explain it to you. So what I've done is created a very simple application that allows us to fill in information into this text box, type it in, then we'll select the Set Application button in order to store the whatever string you typed in here into an application object variable. Let's take a look at the code behind this button in order to understand exactly how we're going to set and retrieve that information. If we take a look here at the button 1 click event, you'll see first of all there is application, and then we can put anything we want in here. This is the key of the application object setting, and I called it app setting. And then this is going to be the value that we're going to set into this application variable's memory space. And then we're going to put into the label that we have the value of the app setting application variable. To test this application, I'm going to open up a web browser, and I'm going to navigate to this page. And what I'm going to do is type in some app value and click the Set Application button. Now when I do, some app value appears. Now what I can do to simulate different users coming to my application is to actually shut down the browser and open up the browser once again and navigate to that same page. Now look what happened. Even though I shut the browser down, this value is still available to my application through the application object, because even though we shut down the web browser, the web server still maintains this value in its memory space. This is actually saved within the ASP.NET Worker process. Now, in the past, what you could do with classic ASP is you could stop the application from Internet Information Services. Let me show you how you would do that. In classic ASP, you would come to the IIS MMC plugin, and you'd select the default website, and you could click Stop. You can notice that it now says stopped here, and you could start it again. And what would typically happen in that case is that I could simply hit refresh, and there would be no value here. In other words, the application variable was stored within IIS, but in ASP.NET that is not true. What you'll need to do in this case is actually open up the Windows Task Manager and look for the ASP.NET process, which is right here, and you'll need to end the process. And it'll ask, are you sure you want to do this? Yeah, in this case we'll take a chance. Now notice what it did. It started another instance of the ASP.NET Worker process. That's okay. What it did was it reset this. So the next time that I open up Internet Explorer and navigate to that page, since we've restarted the .NET Worker process, our application variable will be gone. Now, all is not lost just because we lost information in this specific case. Actually, in a future video, we're going to look at the global.asax file, which has an event that occurs whenever the application is just about ready to shut down, and it would allow us to persist off any variables that are in the application object. And then it has an application on start event, so that we can take a look at wherever we persisted out to, and if values exist there, we can reload them back into the application object. And one last note, although it's hard to illustrate through an example, I do want to encourage you to use the application lock and unlock setting. So in this case, what we'll do is click application.lock before we set the value, and after we set the value, we'll do application unlock. And what this does is it forces your application to access the app setting variable, or actually the whole application object, synchronously. So to avoid any potential that two clients come in at the exact same moment try to perform this operation, the button one click, this will force those two to get in line, basically, and only access the application one at a time to avoid there being some type of override or conflict. And this is sometimes referred to as application object synchronization. So I hope you understand a little bit more about how the application object works. One last thing that I want to tell you about the application object. Back in classic ASP, if you were to put a COM object within the application object, store it off. Let's say it was an object that allowed you to commit a transaction into a database. What would happen in that case is it would use a apartment model threading, which prevents multiple users from accessing the component at the exact same time. And therefore, all the clients would have to line up for use of this component, and it would create a blocking issue. However, in .NET, components are free-threaded, and so you don't have this same type of problem with thread affinity, and therefore, multiple clients can use the application objects, whatever object it's holding on to. And so it's actually a good way to optimize performance in some cases for your ASP.NET web application. So I hope that you've learned a lot about with the application object. There's a lot more to learn about it and how you can use it within applications effectively. But we hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you.